So, I am going to be doing a review on the Creative Play Droid Builder. So, this set released in August of 2024 for a retail price of $100, and this has set number 75392, 1,186 pieces, an age rating of 9+, and one minifigure, which is a 25th anniversary figure. And if you're curious, this is the back of the box. In the set, we do get a young Leia as a 25th anniversary figure, and she does include the pretty nice stand piece, and she has a very detailed print on her torso, which looks very nice, and a very nice back print. And she does include the short legs in dark brown, and she has a pretty good face print and hairpiece. And this is her second face. And while not a bad minifigure, it's just not a very good choice for a 25th anniversary figure. Because with the rest of the 25th anniversary figures, they're all unique figures that we haven't really gotten in any sort of capacity. And while we technically haven't gotten a young Leia, we have gotten so many Leia minifigures. And plus, this just isn't really that interesting of a Leia minifigure. I feel like there was definitely a cooler outfit or design LEGO could have chose. And plus, I feel like this figure might have taken the spot of a potentially way cooler figure. But the Leia does include this Lola figure, which is actually counted as a separate minifigure. And while the print is very nice, I have two major issues with Lola. First off, it's way too big. It just should have been a 1x1 round tile, which would have definitely just been way more accurate to the actual show. And plus, the way that Leia actually holds it is the bottom of Lola is a round jumper with a stamp. But LEGO should have instead just used this piece, which Leia can hold perfectly fine. And plus, it's a bit more accurate because Lola is a flat droid. So, the build for the set is 4 droids and some accessories, but I'll talk about those later. The droids are R2-D2, QTKT, an Imperial droid, and Chopper. And I won't go too in-depth on each droid because those 3 are essentially the same build, just with a slightly different color scheme. I will say, the droids definitely look better in person than in the pictures, at least for me. And they all have essentially the same posability. You can move both of the legs all the way around, their heads can swivel, and you can move the third leg just a bit, except for Chopper because he has the wheel. And with R2-D2 and QTKT, their heads are supposed to be a more round shape, but as you can see, it's not perfect. It's definitely a bit choppy, but to be fair, it's not super easy to make a round shape at this scale without creating an entirely new piece. But I think overall, they did a pretty good job. And these two do have a pretty nice printed tile right there, which definitely looks pretty cute. And the color scheme for R2-D2 does look very nice. Luckily, that tile right there is a print, which is very nice. His back wasn't too detailed, but there is a bit at the back of his head. And his leg does look pretty nice. But I will say, I am not a fan of the top of the legs on the droids, because this whole piece just makes their shoulders feel way too big. But now on to KTQT. So, she has essentially the exact same posability as R2-D2, and her overall design is very similar, with very minor changes. But there's also a pretty nice tile right there, which luckily is also a print, and she has a very nice magenta and pink color scheme, which looks pretty nice. Her back also isn't super detailed, but there is a nice pink stripe going all around. And I feel like she is pretty accurate compared to the recent minifigure that came out. And something interesting with the droids is that you can actually take them apart very easily, just like this, because you're actually encouraged to mix-match them with the rest of the droids. Now for the Imperial droid. So, he is also essentially the exact same as R2-D2 and QTKT, except his head isn't the domed head, it's actually the more angular one, which is nice. And unlike the rest of the droids, he actually doesn't have the little button eye, which definitely makes him seem a lot less friendly, but this is an Imperial droid. And this one also has a printed tile right there, which looks nice. And he has a very nice black and copper color scheme, which is pretty cool. He has essentially no detailing on his back, but a bit of detailing on his front. And his head can also swivel around. His posability is the same as the rest. But on the top of his head, he actually has this little antenna thing, which is pretty cool. Otherwise, there's not really too much to talk about him. Now, onto Chopper. He is definitely the most unique out of the droids, which is pretty cool. Compared to the other ones, his body is a lot shorter and his legs are way stubbier. And he, of course, does have the little arms, which you can move around a bit, but they're not really meant to be moved too much. And he doesn't have the third leg, he actually has the wheel, which is very cool. And if you want, you could move his legs up so that you can have him on the one wheel. And unlike R2-D2 and QTKT, his eye is actually on the right instead of the middle. And the detailing on his torso is nice. There actually isn't a projectile, which is fine. And his back is fine. And the most interesting thing with the set are all of these accessories, because you are encouraged to put them on the droids, which is definitely weird. We do get 4 hats, being a little flower pot hat, a regular baseball cap, I think, a cowboy hat, and a little top hat. And the other accessories are also weird. We get an inflatable rubber ducky, sunglasses, a mustache, 2 bow ties, stud shooters, some items that Chopper can hold, eyeglasses, headphones, and my personal favorite, the little rocket boosters for R2-D2. So with the hats, they're pretty simple. There are 2 studs right there, which actually hold them in place. And with the sunglasses and mustache, you just put right there, like that. They're definitely weird. Like I said, the only accessory that I actually really like is these, because they're just the little rocket boosters for R2-D2. And these ones were just the only ones that actually made sense. And the way that you actually put on the rubber duck is you take off this, you take this whole section off, and you can just put it on, just like that. Hooray. So yeah, the accessories are definitely interesting, to say the very least. I'm not really sure why LEGO included them, because the box says 9+, and I personally can't really imagine many 9-year-olds really having fun with this. Maybe for younger kids, but I don't know. They're just weird. Personally, what I think LEGO should have done is remove all of the accessories and lower the price of the set, or keep the set the same price and take the parts from the accessories to making the droids a bit bigger. Otherwise, they're fine, I guess. I feel like we can all agree that the only reason why the young Leia wasn't included in the set is just so that people would buy it, because I imagine that LEGO kind of knew the set probably wouldn't sell too well, so they put a 25th anniversary figure in it so that people would have to buy it. And I mean, hey, their plan worked, because I bought the set mainly for the young Leia. But I will admit, I ended up being a lot happier with the droids than I thought. But would I recommend that you purchase the set? I mean, I don't know. If you are trying to get all of the 25th anniversary figures, obviously this is a must-buy for that young Leia. But if you do buy it for the Leia, I think you would probably be relatively happy with the droids, because minus all of the accessories, they are decent builds. So if you do end up buying the set, I would recommend that you take all of the accessories, either take them apart for parts, or store them somewhere, and you could either scatter the droids across your room or your house, or put them all in one spot. But overall, I would give this set about a 6.5 out of 10.